Good morning. Thank you all for coming out on this sort of wintry day. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalists of Southold, formerly the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Southold. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we welcome you. Today we are gathering on the traditional lands of the Amanhansuk Nation. My name is Mark Sisson. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees and a member of this congregation. We are so glad to see you, whether you are visiting for the first time or come often. If you are not on our mailing or email list, please sign our guest book on the welcome table as you enter from the parking lot. You will then receive the Free Spirit newsletter each month and hear about upcoming events. Copies of the newsletter are on the action table to the left as you enter behind me. Please like us on our YouTube channel, Unitarian Universalists of Southold. We stream our services there, and you can find past services archived. The action table has other information that you may find interesting. Also for your use are masks and hand sanitizer, although they are not required at this point. We offer many ways to serve this community, from providing hospitality, flowers, and ushering on Sunday mornings, to joining our social action and other committees. Please stay after our service this morning for coffee, refreshments, and lively conversation. On the back of your order of service are some announcements. Don't forget, on January 20th and weekly thereafter are yoga meditations with Nancy Bayless. They start at 10:30. January 21st and weekly thereafter, Charlotte Day is conducting music classes for piano, voice, and chorus, and those start at 3 o'clock. January 25th, Open Mind, Open Heart will be our Sunday service featuring Joe McKay. January 25th, also at 4 p.m., the North Fork Action Center will meet here in the sanctuary. On February 2nd, the North Fork Action Center presents Minerva Perez from the Organización Latinoamericana at 6 p.m. On February 3rd, the Covenant Group meets here. I think it's at 4 o'clock. It's in the small meeting room. February 21st will be the next in the continuing series of community dance, and that's going to be Swing. Are there any other brief announcements?
All been invited to an all-women's Seder at the Congregation Tifereth Israel in Greenport. I'm going to leave this paper out on the back table, but I've also asked Sue Pond to send out an email to everybody. It's going to be on Sunday, February 1st, and it's $18, but we can bring a friend for free. And it's a celebration of, as I said, maybe I didn't say, the Feast of the Trees, the New Year of the Trees, and she says, as we are branching out and stepping into the promise of spring, we will connect to our inner spiritual lives by feasting on an array of fruits and nuts from the natural world. So that sounds like fun. February 1st, but we have to RSVP, or we're asked to, by Monday, January 26th. It might be on the website, yeah.
Okay, this is a very important message. The cookies that I brought to Soulful Sundown, I did not make them. They were from the Treatery in Jamesport, where I go every week for my fix. I heard a rumor that somebody thought I made them. Thanks.
If there are no other announcements, now is the time where we greet our neighbor.
If you could join me as Mark lights our chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. Our opening words this morning are those of Gary Kowalski. In this quiet hour, may our spirits be renewed. In this gathering of friends, may we be ready to extend ourselves to those in need and with trust to receive the hand that is offered. In this community of ideals, may we remember the principles that guide us and reflect upon those things that give meaning to our lives, renewing our dedication to serve the highest that we know. In this time of worship, may our minds be open to new truth, and may our hearts be receptive to love as we give thanks for this life we are blessed to share. If you could rise in body or in spirit and sing with me our opening hymn for all the saints, Sarah will play it all the way through one verse. If you could join me in our words of affirmation followed by our doxology. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. All that dwell below the skies, let words of love and peace arise. Let joyful songs of praise be sung through every land by And now we will take up the offering for the work and witness of the Unitarian Universalists of Southold. This morning's offering will now gratefully be received.
Now is the time in our service where we drop a stone in the water to share a joy or a concern. I will start. Last night, I was not at the Roomba dance, but that was because we were at a concert that was given by Colin Palmer, a friend of my son's, and it was a wonderful experience. Oh, yeah, that's right. And my son played guitar for him. Yeah.
For those of you who did not come Friday night, it was one of the best soulful sundowns we've ever had. Very well attended, 40 people, and tremendous music and poetry by Corky and Beth Young. So we're going to plan another one soon, hoping more people will be able to enjoy it the way we did. I can't thank the people who brought food. My heavens, it was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Yesterday, last night, very well attended dance, community dance. So nice that you've arranged those. And it wasn't announced, but I want people to remember that we're doing the Hispanic program early tomorrow in the morning. Anybody who is interested in it, come and talk with me, coffee hour, and Winterfest. That is the afternoon, and the evening will be another community dance, February 22nd or 1st.
Hello, I'm Eva. In the midst of World War III and everything that's been going on, it's very close to some of us now, but it's not. It didn't just start. How this country was founded, what's been happening in other places, other people. Anyhow, in the midst of all this, my kitty cat, Peekaboo, apparently she became paralyzed from the waist down. And that happened about maybe January 6th or so. And so she has crossed the Rainbow Bridge on the 13th. And I want to celebrate, I want to say my joy is we had like 14 and a half years together. And I was aware, because as I was watching things unfold, in the country, in the world, in Minnesota. One thing I'm aware of is we had the opportunity, I had the opportunity to be with her in her last, those last days. So that's a gift, which, you know, when your parents are kidnapped or killed, or your children or whoever, not everybody has that, and even with pets, but we did. So that's I'm very grateful. She's in my heart.
I have a couple of stones I'd like to drop this morning. One is one of apology for not being able to be physically here with you as often as I'd like, particularly this morning. As many of you know, Brian and I have been on a roller coaster since May. On January 7th, the day that Renee Good was shot, Brian was having his 5th surgery to do a repair between his esophagus and his stomach so that he could swallow, so they could eat. This last one only lasted 3 days. So he was back in the hospital again, ER over the weekend, and he had his 6th surgery. This one is only temporary, so that at least it can buy him until we can find the right gastroenterologist, because his thoracic surgeon doesn't do the surgery that he needs this time. And we'll have to get some approvals and blah, blah, blah. So he is home right now, again, because there's nothing more that Peconic Bay can do for him. He's going to have to go to another hospital to have this next surgery, and he probably will have to go into a rehab. He said to say hi to all of you this morning. I was supposed to be here earlier, and it just didn't work. But I said I have to go for lots of reasons. One, because I love all of you, and you have been so incredibly supportive of me and Brian. And I ask for your continued prayers and thoughts, not just for us, but for this larger community. And that's also why I need to be here with you today. I'm so proud of this little bunch of people. I mean, really think about what you've been doing lately. And we need to continue to do it. Because what's going on in Minneapolis could be going on here. We know that there are ICE agents active in New York City, on Long Island, on the North Fork. I ask that you please try to educate yourself as much as possible about what's going on, but also to look into what the UUA is doing to support us. Reverend Haran, who some of you have heard me quote and talk about, she's actually the in charge of ministry for the. She lives about 3 blocks away from where Renee was shot, and happened to be 2 blocks away when she heard all the bells and whistles and went running down, and then she videoed what was going on. Go online, go to UUA, go to UUA World, look up what our faith association is doing to support Minneapolis, but also the resources that are being put together, because Minneapolis is aware that we all need to be awake and aware of what's going on and be prepared to support our neighbors. And that's one of the things that we're doing tomorrow morning, by the way. Thank you so much, Susan and Randy and Virginia, the work that's going on to support that little group, and the work that's going to be going on in the next couple of months. And hopefully it will continue. We're working on getting a grant to continue the program. We can protect, defend, and show support for our neighbors who have lived here amongst us for years and decades and generations. that are being torn from their families for no other reason than to be used as pawns. So a huge, huge rock of thanks, as I usually say, and for all of you and for all of those who cannot be with us this morning. I know we can't be all out in the streets, so recruit younger legs. Your neighbors, your grandchildren, whoever. Emails that I'm going to be sending out to you in the next week and weeks, because we're starting Side with Love. UUA's 30 Days of Love starts tomorrow, ironically, Martin Luther King Day. Think about what's going on. Those of you who have lived through the 60s, we're reliving it again, just with different faces. We've come so far, and yet we've so far to go. So please, if you don't want to read all the emails, and I promise I'm not sending one each of the 30 days, read one or two and follow the links. Educate yourself. Do whatever you can to help your neighbor, your community.
I'll drop one more stone for those joys and concerns that go unspoken. Let us remember there are always joys and sorrows that go unspoken for many reasons, but we are not alone.
These are the words of William R. Jones. I have come not to praise King, but to criticize him. I have come to the agonizing conclusion that to justly honor King at this time and to place him in our history and advance the goal for which he joyously lived and courageously died, we must pinpoint the real defects in his thought. Why this bewildering way of praising King? The most important reason is the ideological abuse of King's deeds and doctrines by those who want to negate his dream. To be truthful, we would have to admit that King has become, as it were, the Black Messiah, the singular and exclusive pattern not only for blacks in America to imitate, but also for other liberation movements throughout the world. Black leaders are indexed as militant or violent, not on the basis of their actual thoughts and deeds, but by virtue of how far they strayed from King's footsteps. I have a nagging suspicion that white America desires to perpetuate a black hero who fits its special needs of oppression and not those of black liberation. White adoration of King secures him more as a guardian of white interests than as a black Moses to lead his people to freedom. We can't change the past, but we can learn from it and build on it. We can't control the future, but we can shape it and enhance the possibilities for our children and our grandchildren. The 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence is celebrated this year, and the commemorative coins are coming out. Naturally, much planning goes into these coins, though with debit cards, Bitcoin, and the retirement of the penny, coins feel more like the currency of the past than the future. But recently, it was revealed that of the coins previously planned for this year by the U.S. Mint and authorized and approved by a special committee that has advised the Mint for 22 years. All of the ones celebrating women's suffrage or the civil rights movement have been axed. They're not coming out this year. When we look for the past, coins, old advertisements in a newspaper, posters, or even the leftover remains of a billboard on a brick building all open doors into another time. What we are creating now tells the future. It tells the world what we want them to believe about us. The hero-making process, therefore, deserves our attention. Every year we commemorate the birthday of Martin Luther King because our values call on us to take the opportunity this anniversary presents to reflect and recommit ourselves to caring for paths that were blazed by him and others. And when we do so, we take the temperature of our own resistance. But though we should commemorate and celebrate with story and song, we should not fool ourselves into thinking that our commemoration is enough. Last spring, when Pastor Natalie of the Greenport AME congregation was here for the Lenten service that we hosted, she pointed with curiosity to the tiny image of Whitney Miller Young on the poster of 100 Unitarians and Universalists in our lobby. It's now above the North Fork Action Center table next to the cloak closet. That got me reading because, frankly, I did not really know who Whitney Young was. Whitney Miller Young, who passed away in 1971 at the very young age of 50, was the leader of the Urban League during the 1960s, a pivotal decade in civil rights. And if King was a visionary, then Young was most certainly a builder. The work of the Urban League, which was founded in 1910, is to increase opportunities for Black Americans and other historically marginalized groups. In cities, large and small, across the nation, this was done, especially in Young's time, with 1,000 different encounters with businessmen and gatekeepers, both Black and white. For in the 1950s and 60s, it was not just a question of marching across the bridges and going to rallies. It was not even just a question of winning Supreme Court battles. The game being played, then as now, is a long one across multiple fronts. These are the skirmishes that are not recorded by cameras or commemorated in museums. Young's work in various cities, among them Omaha and Minneapolis, was the painstaking work of convincing business leaders that Black people could work in jobs that were semi-professional. Secretaries instead of always janitors. Salespeople instead of porters. That refusing Black people either housing or job opportunities was bad for everybody's business because it depressed overall economic opportunity. Even library access was tested by the work of the Urban League. The work of the Urban League was more strategic than grassroots activism, more coalition and consensus building than nonviolent resistance. And so by 1971, when Young died tragically by drowning, the Urban League had expanded its budget by millions, and the number of employees from 38 to 1,600. And Young makes the list of 100 Unitarian Universalists that mattered because he attended Unitarian Universalist congregations and served on the board of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. But what I have been able to find, he was not a member of any congregation. There is a piece of wisdom that is paraphrased like this, that what we plant not for ourselves, but for our children and our children's children. To lay the groundwork, to have the capacity to tend to the path we inherit in times of relative peace or in times that feel like war. To build the world we dream about, that is a blessing. To have the means to thrive instead of just survive is a blessing. And yet, the choices we are confronted with do not always feel like blessing. When anything careful and slow doesn't sit right with us, we are often facing extreme choices to confront the evil we are witnessing head on or bury our heads in the sand. Now feels like a time to make that choice, a time when we have to decide what is right for us individually and how we will show up. Our heart is breaking for a 20-year-old who signed up for the National Guard and lost her life. Our heart is breaking for a mother who lost her life on the streets of Minneapolis. And our heart is breaking for 32 people who have died in ICE custody. What are we called to be? No matter our level of courage or our inclination, we learn from the path we inherited. Listening to a program on public radio yesterday about King brought me to the realization that that song that we sing, that popular song, "We Shall Overcome," it's not just about overcoming injustice. It's about overcoming the fear we have in our hearts, the sadness, the sense of powerlessness. It is as much about not letting fear make us react with violence and not losing sight of our humanity. Because every year, when Martin Luther King's birthday is marked, we should ask ourselves once more if we are starting a new fight or making sure that the old one was not fought in vain. Because it is natural to be tired and afraid. And yet, I believe that no matter how old we are, how young, how inexperienced, or how convinced that we will come to harm, all of our contributions matter. You are beloved by a mystery unfathomable. And here, in this community of second chances, your path tending matters, however you do it. I'm not interested in learning about saints and heroes. If saints and heroes are perfect and remote human beings, I'm interested in those flawed humans, as King and Young and so many others were, who spent their days tending the path even when it made them anxious to do so. Leave the etching of coins and the anointing of heroes to others. Let us learn from those who rested when they needed to, who stopped for moments of joy and creativity, who created sanctuary and refuge, who built pathways of resistance for others to maintain and extend in their own way, in their own time, with their own tools. Whitney Young greatly expanded economic power for blacks while others were expanding civil rights, and still others, like James Baldwin, spoke out as writers and artists. We will be known by how we applied ourselves to the life we live now. Let us worry about what is etched upon our hearts and minds and how we create havens of connection here to continue our journey, rising each day to celebrate, to be joyful, to resist, and hope for us and our neighbors will come naturally. Amen. Blessed be. Ashe and Shalom. Our meditation words are those of Sean Parker Dennison. First, learn to listen. Not only for enemies around corners and hidden places, but for the faint footsteps of hope and the whisper of resistance. Hone your skills. Aim your heart towards kindness and stockpile second chances. Under the weight of destruction, we will need the strong shelter of forgiveness and the deeper wells that give the sweet water of welcome. We have a place for you. When the world ends, we must not add destruction to destruction, not accept a beggar's bargain to fight death with more death. In order to survive the apocalypse, any apocalypse at all, we have to give up the counterfeit currency of self-sufficiency, the mistaken addiction to competition, the lie that the last to die has somehow survived. If you could rise in body or in spirit and sing with me our closing hymn, number 318, We Would Be One. We would be one as now we join in singing our hymn of love to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow, a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which binds our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service with love and justice strive to make us free. Go now into a world that is broken, for only scratched and bruised hands can mend it. Go now into a world that is heart-sick. Only those who have known tears can heal it. Go now into a world that is often gray with sorrow. Ours is the task to sing it a new song. When we tend to what is hurt in us, we will find what is best in us. Never think that we need only saints and heroes, legends and great ones. The beloved community, the fellowship of the beloved community does us fine. But before I extinguish our chalice, I would like to extend a hearty welcome and thanks to Sarah Gordon for this is the first time she has played for us. She came here all the way from Shelter Island, and she often plays for the South Fork congregation. So we are very grateful for their fellowship in introducing us to Sarah and for Sarah for coming. So thank you.